Okay, today we're gonna be reacting to a channel called Zero Munchi, and apparently he is gonna decide to quit the wooden ways, and I find this kind of interesting because according to what I've been hearing from many of the comment sections and stuff like that, Wooden Waves is the best game ever. So I wonder why people are deciding to quit these games. And honestly, I mostly prefer smaller content creators than the larger ones because the larger ones seem to have some kind of agenda to whenever they talk. They never really talk without having biases when it comes down to their takes. And it's unfortunate. One particular content creator can come to mind is saying, don't ask. There will be very much better rewards in Honkai Star Rail's live stream event anniversary, and you'll be outraged about it. Then there'll be slightly even way worse events in Wither Waves, and you'll glaze the hell out of it. And then come back around, there'll be good patches in Honkai Star Rail, and then you'll be hating on it again. So it seems like many of these content creators, these larger content creators, have problems or come with their takes as like some sort of cultist movement where it's support my game because it's good as long as it's my game is something good. If it's somebody else's game is bad, and I don't think that is a good way to see things. This is a short video, so don't mind the yapping, and I will see. And I've already watched this video. I just wanted to bring his light to and his take to it, and give my thoughts on what he has to say.
Once, and the mind quiets. Cleanse the thoughts, and the soul clears.
Few days ago, I uninstalled Wuthering Waves, a game I've been a fan of for a year now. It was the beginning of my channel even. Recently, for the past few months, I've been playing this game on and off, playing it like just any other video game that doesn't involve gacha. I didn't care about dailies anymore. I just logged in once in a while to check out the new story, enjoying walking around the world, and that was pretty much it. The events since the launch of Wuthering Waves have never really appealed to me, so I never even engaged with them. The most I've been attracted to in terms of events was probably the fishing event, and even that I didn't do much because I just got bored of it so quick. But what made me quit Wuthering
I have that same sentiment really. I don't like events like, and it's not as a Wither Ways thing. This is the thing in Genshin Impact. This is the thing in Zone Zero. This is the thing in Honkai Star. This is why I don't like the TV event in Zone Zero at the time. It's just so draining because it feels like a job, really. Like I do a job, like a normal real work job in the real world, and when I finish this job, I don't want to come home to play a game, and in that game, I am doing a job. I don't like that. I do like certain aspect when it comes down to Genshin Impact when you're running the business in Genshin Impact. There's a portion business and there is the business in Uncastar. I really like this because it's like educational. It teaches you how to manage a business and teaches you things about finances and invoice and managing employees and stuff like that. I really like that. Honestly, I take it back. I really like that kind of events. But if it's an event that doesn't really serve you any real purpose or give you any skills in like managing businesses and stuff like that, things that would actually make you money in the real world, and I don't think it's like necessary. I just think it's like a big waste of time and a segue when they could have been actually implementing stories about the game that would make the game progress. All I'm saying.
Waves wasn't just boredom. I could very well just leave the app on my PC, just as usual, and just come back to it whenever I want. But in my opinion, Wuthering Waves has lost its core identity. Think about it. When WoWa was first out, if someone asked you, what is Wuthering Waves? You'd answer them with, oh, it's this cool new anime gacha game that has really sick combat, insane graphics, and it also has a good male to female ratio. So it looks like it's catered toward the whole demographic that just enjoys anime combat games. That's what I would like to say whenever I was asked that question. But now, as we're celebrating, quote unquote, the anniversary, what do I tell people who ask me about this game? All I could say to them is that it's an anime gacha game that has cool graphics and animations and cool combat, which has always been the case since the beginning. But now the story is always just Rover gets a new waifu, and we've only had two premium male characters. The other one was given out as a free unit to everyone, so it's basically just a game catered more towards lonely dudes that love sick combat. That's pretty much it. It wouldn't have been an issue with me.
Hmm. No, I don't remember what I thought about this initially, but yeah, the story is like going around the road of an arm kind of way of storytelling, and it's not like something that is impossible to think that this could actually happen because it does happen in other games. Like for example, Snowbreak is I don't pay attention to the story at all in Snowbreak. I just play it for the for the degenerate content of it, and I think it's like girl falls in love with the I don't remember what is his name, Commander and stuff like that. It's just that's always just the case, and I think hmm, having Wuthering Waves go down that path, I don't think it's too bad story wise because I think it could gather hmm, I don't think everybody that plays this game are gotcha games are lonely people that don't have girlfriends and stuff like that. I think yeah, you are gonna find some that do not have girlfriends, but I don't think it's like everybody. Do I think it's a bad move on with a race part? On a business wise, no. Because it's scientifically proven that if you make the character more appealing to the player, they will have more likelihood of pulling that character because of a parasocial relationship with that character. So I think it's absolutely fine. And the next part is that girl characters normally sell better than male characters at all times. It's just mathematically possible. And given the fact that Waterways can barely pass 50 million sales, I think it's okay for them to stick with what's generating them the most amount of money because I think if they let some male characters run, I think it will drastically tank their sales and it will make this company go under. So I don't want Waterways to go under, as I said. So I think I understand why they're doing. I don't think this is they're doing it because they want to. I think they're just trying to capitalize on these lonely men, as you mentioned, and it's unfortunate, but they should have at least made the story a little bit more interesting, even if it's Arab, because there's animes like Konosuba and others that are very funny, very entertaining, and even though it's a harem, you enjoy the story. You enjoy like Rent a Girlfriend. That's a great anime, and that follows the same aspect. But there's a lot of comedy in it. There's a lot of fun things about it. So I just think that it's just that the worlds don't collide, because if the story is trying to keep itself in a serious manner, and then we're also trying to implement this love story between all of the characters, female characters falling in love with the rover, then it kind of clashes with the story itself. And I know you'll hear from many of the Water Waves defenders that the story is the best story out there, and there's no other story better than Water Waves story. It's not, and I think there's a lot of improvement they can make on the story. But if with content creators, large content creators that are glazing Wuthering Waves, as the best story ever, that's gonna make the developers have no incentive to improve the story, which definitely needs improvement, which means that you're gonna eat the same quality amount of story for the rest of your life because they will never ever admit that the story needs work. But I digress. Is it something that you need to quit the game for, my friend? I can't force you to say you can continue playing the game because everybody is different. I play Genshin not because of the difficulty of the Genshin Impact. I play because I love the lore. There are other people out there that don't play Genshin Impact because they don't give two shits about the lore, and I completely understand that. But I really love Genshin Impact's lore because it ties in with the real world. It makes me do research on things that happen in the real world. Alright, it ties into the real world on such a crazy level if you actually look at the real on the lore when it comes down to Genshin Impact. The only problem that I have with Genshin Impact is that most of the lore as well is like stuck in the books. And in the past live stream, they actually mentioned that they're gonna fix this issue and start implementing the actual lore as stories rather than keeping it hidden in books, which I think is an absolutely win for Genshin Impact storytelling. I just want Paimon to shut up and not repeat what was said. Jesus. But overall, if if you play these games for the story and you're not enjoying the story, I don't recommend you continuing playing the game. If you decide to quit, that's totally fine. There's a really good anime that's called Black Clover that's my friends always recommends me to watch, and I just couldn't get through the initial part of the stories, and I just didn't watch the story. I just didn't watch anime at all, and that's completely fine. In life, we can't consume everything. It's impossible. There's a lot of gacha games out there that I would like to experience. Girl Frontlines too, a lot of other gacha games, but I just know that I just don't have the time to consume all of these contents by myself. I just have to accept the fate that there are gonna be things that I'm gonna miss out on, and it is what it is.
If this was the original game plan of this game, it didn't start off this way. That's kind of why it's throwing me off a little bit even more. What started off as a game set in a post-apocalyptic world that was heavily focused on combat is now a game that resorts to gunner bait. Simply speaking, it just turned into Genshin, but with better graphics, models, and combat, but worse events and plot. Does this mean I quit Wuthering Waves
Wait, just
forever? I
mention.
don't want that. Wuthering Waves made a character that is the only character in the entirety of fiction in general who made me love a fictional character. The first moment I saw Shin, I instantly fell for her, bro. Dude, even my damn model is inspired from her design, so no matter what happens to Wuwa, I'll always love her. But that's also where they disappoint me even more. They
Mhm.
completely abandon their past characters, especially if they're not premium units. It's been a year. Have we even met Kalsharo, Dungeon? Who's Taochi? What's she like? What is Baishu like as a person outside of work? And a few seconds of Janshin run some errands is supposed to satisfy me?
Yeah, I did mention this in the video, right? That I do have that problem. I think how you gacha games, the main gacha games need to move away from this narrative of having mini games after mini games and just use that time to actually develop the characters and story around characters rather than just making these random mini games that we don't necessarily care about, and they can more than well and do it too because they're running a live service game, so they have more than enough space to have like their server host all these events on the live service on the live server. And depending on where you are in the story, if you want to download this specific story and then complete it and then delete it back, then you're free to do so. There is no excuse. why they can't implement this. They can't say that, oh, it will be expensive to keep this up when you're actually running a live service in a live service game. It is impossible for them to say that. It's just impossible. And it wouldn't hurt them too much to do this. I don't know what the issue is because this is an online service event, online service game. It's just something that could be easily fixed and would be way much better because your time is actually being worth something and actually getting lore about the game rather than just mini game after mini game after mini game after mini game.
Does actually, because I scream at the simple glance of her, but still. My point is, I feel like Wuthering Waves just has no idea what they want their game to be anymore. They had an original focus, a theme, but that's nowhere to be seen anymore. By all means, I don't hate Wuthering Waves. I don't think I ever will. I don't necessarily hate any game anymore now. It used to be Starville, but it was just a me issue now that I think about it, so it's just that I don't care about the game any longer. Especially with how the anniversary is, it doesn't even feel like an anniversary. It didn't change
Wait,
anything.
how long was this video? This video 17 hours ago. Wait, the anniversary has been gone for a while now. And we have content creators still talking about it, including me, of course. But you can understand that this really left a sour taste in a lot of players' mouth, how bad the anniversary was. And people just are not, the one that are living in a bubble that have to defend Kuro games no matter what, because Kuro game is my game and Genshin bad, whatever is good. They're not understanding that that's not how the majority of people are thinking.
They just added a silly little goofy cube event and new characters and a little bit of quality of life. That's pretty much it. I'll come back when Johnson gets some new content, maybe, but seeing how they handle their old characters, it might just mean I never come back. But I will, because I know I'll miss seeing her. We all have to move on. Right now, I have found a new game that I heavily enjoy, Ethereal Restart. I'm live every day, 8 p.m., playing the final beta on my Twitch if you want to join in on the fun. But yeah, that's all I had for today. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. I'll see y'all.
To actually follow up, he did quit. He did post it that he quit, and he explained he's going back to Honkai Star Rail. I think he had like a bad issue with Honkai Star Rail. I don't know what. As I can say, it is here, and everyone have occurred while trying to uninstall. Anyways, it has already been uninstalled. He actually uninstalled Wuthering Waves. He actually followed through it. Like the video came up later after it, and I did leave a positive message about it that it's not something you have to do. You're forced. If you feel the need to go back and play Wuthering Waves, absolutely play it because it's like, as I said, the decision is yours, and it's just how he feels about the situation. I can't. I think it's better for him. There's nothing more worse than when you're at the end of your life and you realize that you made the decision not because you wanted it, but because your favorite content creators told you to do so. No, I mean many content creators, Tectone included, tell me that I should quit Genshin Impact and just play Wuthering Waves. Did I do that? I played Wuthering Waves, yes, but I didn't quit Genshin Impact. And I realized that I didn't hate Genshin Impact. The things that he was complaining about, I was not experiencing because I didn't overly invest in my characters and get them E6 S5 and wonder why I'm one-shotting everything. I am gonna subscribe to him because, as I mentioned before, the game that he was talking about, that new game, I'm not gonna be playing that game, ethereal something. I can't hold on to so much games. I'm struggling. I'm not gotcha god. I can't play 13 gotcha game at once. I am barely struggling with 4, and that is including Snowbreak on the side as well. I just can't do it. But it was a good video. I many people are not in. Wait a minute. I've done this before, so let's read some of the comments that has been left on this video. Um, this is so true. I really wish that the story was not always Rover get new wife every I can't say that story quest, and the male and female ratio is just sad. I'll still play it, but I really hope they redeem themselves. I respect the decision to leave though. As I said, I don't think they'll ever change from that path because it doesn't make them as much money, and they're not making as much money compared to the Hoyo games. That is sad. I wish to play with you. That's a different comment. I just joined Wooden Ways after a being content dry from Genshin. I want more primos, but I can't get a lot due to the lack of events and content. Generally, so 3 weeks ago I got Wooden Ways and I'm already bored of the game. AR-51 or whatever it's called, and well, to be honest, I'm just gonna stick to Genshin and hoping for it to add more better things in the future. Hopefully, Wither Wave can strive on their own direction since right now it's looking like a game I'll soon uninstall, unfortunately. So I am not the only one that thinks this. The Primos, which is mentioning that the Winter Waves currency so pulling it is you can't get a lot due to events. What he's basically saying is there's a little bit amount of pulls, honestly, and it's just not motivating him. And I think that is actually something that I've complained about too. That when I log into the game and they give me standard pulls instead of like regular pulls or weapon banner pulls, and it's the 7 day rewards, it's just not something that motivated. This is someone that says I love this game, and that's good. And so absolutely have people that love the game, and you could love it because of the isekai genre of it. I can understand that the self protagonist where he's the harem. I can understand that. I'm honestly the polar opposite of you. Okay, this is another one. While I get there where you're coming from, I would recommend Word more than any other point in the past year. I am a day one player, but I quit around the end of 1.1 because of the it was stale, boring, and pretty monotone. I would say it's back then that they didn't know what direction to go in with Renosita. They basically gotten rid of any problems I once had. The 2.2 story with Cantarella is easily my favorite story in the game and probably my favorite in any gacha game that I've played. However, your complaint with older characters being left and forgotten is completely valid, and I also wish they did more with them, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And at the last point, your statement of Wooden Raid becoming a game for lowly men that like cool combat was wholly unnecessary. There is no reason to attack others over any of this. So I think he took that personally. I it's all right. As I said, there's a lot of different kind of players. There are players that hate that kind of mentality, and there are players that really like that kind of mentality, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like Genshin. I like Genshin. I never care for the story. How can you never care for the story when it comes down to Genshin? Genshin's story is good. What are you talking about? The Wither Waves, I kinda care, but not really. But there's a skip button, so I'm fine. In the end, I am more in it for the combat, and that's where they have me by the okay by the football. I'm guessing it means that um in Genshin he doesn't really care for the story, and Wooden Ways he don't really care for the story either. But the thing with Wooden Ways, you can skip the story, and I think maybe you can enjoy the game a lot better if you quit the story and just think about it as a combat game, I guess. But still, I could, is it the same comment? Huh. I quit Genshin to play Wuthering Waves. From the beginning, it felt just like Genshin, but less obvious. Eventually, they actually started to directly go into the Genshin direction, purposely incorporating the cons of Genshin. And that is an issue that I have as well. They're going into the direction where Genshin Impact is going. And whenever you say anything about that, you will get toxically positively berated by the Wilderness community of defenders that will go out of their way to say that it's okay for Wilderness to do this because Wilderness is good and Genshin Impact is bad. And they don't understand how this is really bad for the game because if nobody complains about the problems that happens in Wilderness, it's just gonna fester and fester and get worse and worse. And when Genshin Impact is gonna do better things, the casual players that are not really don't have shares in Kuro games are gonna just switch and go to Genshin Impact because they're gonna realize that Genshin Impact are implementing things and making it seem like they value their time more than Kuro games. But I digress. I am I am finding myself in the same position. Whatever way it started well, the base of the story had potential for characters development and maybe a better male female ratio than the try to waifu generators out there. And it's good exactly in that direction. Plus the unbearable barrage of time wasting gimmicking puzzles. At this point I could just reinstall Genshin or HSR or any Hoyoverse virus if I wanted that. That's what I'm basically saying. I've said this a lot of time in the past videos that like if Wither Waves come in and they just decide to do the same thing that Genshin Impact, HSR and Dennis on Zero have been doing, then there is no reason for people to switch from Genshin Impact and the other games to Wither Waves. There have to be some kind of incentive because the market share is not being held by Wither Waves, not even close. It's being held by Genshin Impact. They have a monopoly on this market, and in order to get any kind of recognition or steal more players from Genshin Impact to them, they have to make it enticing. And if they do the exact same thing that Genshin Impact is doing, it's not going to be enticing. Because when people look at it, the people that are like invested, highly invested in Genshin Impact, they're going to look at it at all the characters that they invested in already, and they're going to look and say, I don't see too much of a big reason why I should skip over from where I have a highly invested team in Genshin Impact to a brand new game that I have nothing invested in for the same amount of rewards and the same amount of treatment. And that's all I've been saying. Finally, I see someone talk about this. Honestly, alright, so as you can see, there's a lot of positive comments. There's a lot of positive comments that actually are some of them are saying the exact same thing that he's saying, some of them are voicing their opinions as well. This is a good community of comments because this is like you don't see anybody that's saying that Wuthering Waves is good, Genshin Impact is bad, or Genshin Impact is good, Wuthering Waves is bad. You don't see the tribalism warfare that you normally see when you see these type of videos on people that's deciding to quit this game or quit that game or something that expressing their feelings and rightfully so anybody that decided to quit the game is rightfully so they can do whatever they want. But all I just have a problem with is like people like Gotcha Smack who's hypocrites who if I see him come back and I see him have Fate Saber on his account and Archer, then that just completely proves the point that he was being very hypocritical and he is a sellout. It's what it is. And it's gonna be the same thing for TikTok. And there should be no excuse that, oh, I had somebody I paid to be playing my account and they happened to pull the character. I'm not taking that. I can't take that. Anyways, what are your thoughts? I just wanted to shed some light on this content creator, and I hope he grows well in the future. He will grow well in the future, I know that. I have to be on my game so I don't make him pass me, but he probably will, independent, because he streams. I'm streaming, I'm gonna start streaming as well. As I said, I just had to figure out how to stream, where I should go to stream and stuff like that. And I'm sorry that most of the content recently has been a lot of the drama covering and stuff like that. And the reason why is I'm just sick and tired of it. We have Saint Tontas over here that is the number one cool show, actually spreading misinformation all the time and painting Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact and Zenitsu Zero in a bad light. And I have to be the one out here that is gonna tell the truth for what it is and make people know that this kid, Saint Tontas, this old man, is actually spreading a lot of misinformation and not sentiment, not seeing what is actually going on. Because in his recent video, he did the same thing where he was talking about there's outrage by the Ankai Stara community on the live stream event, then proceeded to react to his own channel's chat, where his own channel is has a bad take, well, not a bad take, a biased take on Honkai Star to begin with. So obviously, most of the comments are going to be negative, and that wasn't the case either, because some of the comments were actually roasting him on the fact that the Winter Waves patch, the live stream anniversary patch, was ass. It is what it is. It is what it is. Are you quitting Winter Waves? Are you continuing to play Winter Waves? I'm not quitting Winter Waves yet, as I said. But as soon as a Zero per million launches, as soon as that Pokemon game launches, I think it's gonna be next year. As soon as that game launches, as soon as Anata launches, there will not be space for Wuthering Waves on my phone. I can guarantee you that. I'm just saying.